Do you know that feeling when the phone rings and you want to let it go to voicemail? When someone knocks, instead of opening the door, you stand still as a statue, hoping they'll go away. You're not alone. And no, you're not becoming a curmudgeon or a recluse. You're just getting older. And with old age comes something hardly anyone talks about: an unspoken desire for more quiet. But here's what no one tells you. That feeling is completely normal. It might even be healthy. Back in the day, when you were young, social interaction was everywhere. At work, at school, through your children, on the bus, at the grocery store. People were always around, and you were used to it, even dependent on it. But as you age, something changes. It's not that you hate people. You just don't need them in the same way anymore. Not all the time. And that's not selfish, not antisocial, not weird. It's psychology. Deep, well-researched, and actually very logical. Today, I want to share with you the profound psychological reasons, framed from a new perspective, accompanied by lessons from ancient philosophy. Because perhaps this isn't avoidance, but an evolution of the soul. Let's start with what many save for last. Your time has become precious. Seneca, the great Roman philosopher, once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." But when you reach old age, this saying takes on an entirely different meaning. You begin to perceive time differently. When you're 20, an hour feels like nothing. When you're 70, an hour feels like pure gold. You become more careful about how you use it, who gets it, and whether it makes you feel better or worse. You realize that every coffee meeting, every call, every visit, all come at a cost, not just in time, but also in energy. So you invest your time more wisely. Sometimes that means choosing solitude over socializing, not because you hate people, but because you love yourself enough to be selective. This leads us to the second and perhaps most powerful reason: self-awareness. You finally know who you are. I mean, really know. You know what irks you, what uplifts you, where your boundaries lie. And with that knowledge comes a kind of protective instinct. Socrates taught, the unexamined life is not worth living. But old age brings a deeper examination. You stop putting yourself in situations that go against your nature. If gossip exhausts you, you avoid it. If certain people stir up old wounds, you create distance. Not to punish them, but to protect your peace. This is a silent strength, the kind you earn through experience. I remember the story of an old Greek man named Diogenes. When asked why he lived so simply, he replied, "I have learned that what I do not need, I truly do not need." Old age brings you similar clarity, socially. There's a mental acuity that comes with age, not about memory, but about perception. You start to see the essence of things more quickly. Fake smiles, flattery, one-sided friendships. You don't need 3 months of arguments to realize someone isn't right for you. One conversation can say it all. And that perception can be exhausting if you keep trying to play the social game. So instead, you step back, you simplify, you let go of the need to explain yourself. You stop justify why you left the party early or didn't call back. You no longer owe anyone your presence just because you once did. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you'll find strength. More directly, the Vietnamese states, you have the power to decide your reaction to every situation. That is the power that shapes your life. Old age teaches you to use that power. This kind of honesty with oneself can feel like isolation from the outside, but on the inside, it feels like liberation. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who was once a slave, taught that there are two things in life: what we can control and what we cannot. Old age brings a profound understanding of this boundary. You cannot control what others think of your decision to withdraw, but you can control whether you protect your energy and peace. And when you choose to do so, it's not selfish, it's wise. Something magical happens when you stop needing people around you all the time. The right people start to appear. You stop begging for connection and start attracting it naturally. Now, let's talk about what many find most confusing. Why do you suddenly become difficult with people? The first, perhaps most obvious reason: your tolerance for nonsense drops to almost zero. When you were young, you put up with a lot. Bad friends, toxic gossip, meaningless chatter, family drama. The guy who talked about himself for 2 hours without asking you a single question. But over the years, that patience evaporates. You spend decades dealing with nonsense, and at some point, your inner self just wants to say, enough is enough. You stop pretending to laugh at unfunny jokes. You stop listening to baseless opinions. You walk away from people who drain you. This isn't cruelty. This is self-preservation. Confucius taught, the gentleman knows what is worthwhile and what is not. Old age brings you this distinction very clearly in your relationships. You've learned to recognize emotional noise and finally allow yourself to mute it. This leads us to a profound shift in priorities. You start asking different questions. How much energy do I have today? Who genuinely makes me feel good when I talk to them? Who exhausts me? Whom do I trust? You're no longer chasing popularity, approval, or a packed schedule. You're chasing peace. You want meaningful conversations, not shallow small talk. You want people who understand you, not just tolerate you. And if the right people aren't available, you'd rather sit in silence than force a smile. That's not loneliness. That's freedom. That's wisdom. Lao Tzu wrote, to know you have enough is to be rich. Old age teaches you that enough in relationships doesn't mean many, but right. But there's an element few mention, social fatigue. Not the kind of tire that a nap can fix, but a deeper psychological exhaustion. You spend a lifetime managing personalities, navigating group dynamics, adapting, mediating, entertaining. And over time, it becomes draining. You don't recover as quickly as you used to. A 1-hour lunch with someone who talks too much can exhaust you for the entire afternoon. A family gathering with 3 competing conversations at once feels like running a mental marathon. So, you stop saying yes to everything. You choose rest over obligation. You protect your peace as if it's sacred, because it is. Aristotle spoke of the golden mean, the balance between extremes. But old age teaches you that sometimes the middle path is knowing when to step back entirely. Here's something most people don't say out loud. Older people are not always lonely. In fact, many feel very fulfilled being alone. But society doesn't like that narrative. We're constantly told that connection is the ultimate goal. The more people you have around, the happier you'll be. But here's the surprise. Connection doesn't always mean companionship. Sometimes connection is knowing who you are without distraction. Sometimes it's enjoying your own thoughts, listening to the birds, reading a book, staring at the wall with a cup of tea, and not feeling the need to explain yourself. That's not avoidance. That's evolution. This is where we must mention the change in capacity for emotional labor. Perhaps you used to be the family peacemaker, the friend everyone turned to, the one who always reached out first, maintained relationships, and made plans. But after decades of being the glue, you start to wonder, who is holding me together? And if the answer is no one, you slowly step out of that role. Not to punish anyone, but to stop betraying your own needs. You trade pleasing others for peace of mind. And yes, some people might drift away when you stop carrying them. But those who stay are gold. Zhuangzi, the ancient Chinese philosopher, tells a story about a tree so ugly that no one would cut it down. Because of this, it lived for 1,000 years. He said, everyone knows the usefulness of a useful, but no one knows the usefulness of a useless. Now, we must talk about the deepest and most emotional aspect, sadness. As you get older, you lose many people. Friends move away, loved ones pass on, relationships fade. Each loss takes a small piece from your social world. And for many, that world shrinks without them even realizing it. And here's the quiet truth. Some people don't want to rebuild it. It's not depression. It's not giving up. It's just a profound awareness that time is limited. And with that comes a focus on quality over quantity. It's the soul saying, I have loved intensely. I have lost painfully. And now I only have room for what feels truly safe. Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths. And the first truth is, suffering is a part of life. But old age brings a deeper understanding of this. You don't just accept suffering. You learn to protect yourself from unnecessary suffering. When you lose important people, opening up to new ones becomes harder. Not because you're incapable of love, but because you understand the price of attachment. So you become more selective. And that's okay. But it's not just a heart that changes. The body does too. Let's not forget the body's role in all this. Physical aging also affects your social behavior. You might tire more easily. Noisy environments can be overwhelming. Joints ache. Your back needs support. And suddenly, a 2-hour dinner with 5 people doesn't sound like fun anymore. It sounds like endurance training. Physical stress mixed with mental fatigue makes quiet time feel like a gift. So you adjust. You decline more invitations. You prefer early afternoons to late nights. You design a life that suits your body, not the other way around. Epicurus, the Greek philosopher, taught that the goal of life is to seek ataraxia, peace of mind or tranquility of soul. He understood that sometimes the path to peace is through avoiding what causes disturbance. Old age gives you the wisdom to apply this principle. Then there's a layer we haven't mentioned: identity. As you age, your identity changes. You're no longer the parent of young children. You're no longer climbing the career ladder. You retired. Or perhaps you completely change your lifestyle. And with that change in identity comes a social shift. The people you once connected with, colleagues, other parents, younger relatives, they might not feel connected to you anymore. Not because you did anything wrong, but because your lives no longer mirror each other. You move to different rhythms, and that's okay. You're not meant to hold on to every connection forever. In fact, letting go could be one of the best things you do. Heraclitus, the ancient Greek philosopher, said, "No man ever steps in the same river twice." He understood that change is the nature of existence. Old age teaches you that resisting the flow of change only causes suffering. Instead, you learn to flow with your own current. Because what you make space for: quiet mornings, a call from the one person who truly gets you, a long walk without needing to perform for anyone. Those are the things your soul truly craves now. Less stimulation, more meaning. Less noise, more depth. It's not rejecting people. It's refining your circle. And that refinement can feel lonely at first, but eventually it becomes a kind of clarity. Some people will never understand this. They'll say, "You used to be so outgoing," or "Why don't you go out anymore?" And you might struggle to answer, because how do you explain 1,000 silent realizations? How do you summarize decades of growth in one polite sentence? The truth is, you don't owe anyone an explanation. Not anymore. You've earned the right to disappear into your own peace without guilt. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is foolish to expect the wicked not to do wrong." But old age teaches you a more subtle lesson. It is foolish to expect yourself to continue tolerating what no longer serves you. And here's something that might surprise you. This change in behavior, this quieting of social life, can actually extend your lifespan. Studies have shown that reducing stress and protecting emotional health are key factors in longevity. When you avoid toxic conversations, when you limit overwhelming environments, when you choose serenity over obligation, you're not retreating. You're healing. You're conserving energy for what matters. And your body knows it. That's why many older people seem calmer. They've stopped trying to impress anyone. Stop trying to fix what can't be fixed. They walk slower, but their minds are clearer. They speak less, but when they do, it has meaning. They are not running away from people. They are running towards themselves, toward the version of themselves they were previously too busy to meet. There's a saying you probably heard: "As I grow older, I pay less attention to what men say. I just watch what they do." That's what old age brings. It teaches you to observe more and react less. You no longer need to prove anything. You're no longer chasing the approval of people who never understood you anyway. You start choosing peace over pride, solitude over forced connections, and truth over tradition. And it feels good. So, if you recently found yourself withdrawing more, being more selective, quieter, don't panic. Don't doubt yourself. Don't let the world tell you something is wrong. You are not broken. You are blooming. You are shedding everything that doesn't serve you. You are not less sociable. You are becoming more yourself. And that's a kind of joy that cannot be faked. If this message feels like it understands you more than most people have lately, then don't let this be the last time we talk. subscribe to the channel. We're building a quiet little corner here dedicated to people like you. No noise, no pressure, just real conversations, deep stories, and the peace you've earned.